Down. Okay. Down. Down there. Okay. Right there. Yeah. I do that. Oh. So I guess that'll be Kevin's job.
Well, as long as you cover it with the picture, you're fine.
Right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That sounded really good. We're gonna have to. There, click, 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 and spread it. Ma'am. You know, my back still hasn't healed from COVID. Oh yeah, I forget what I tell you. Notice who's missing? You have to pay me $10 if you did not notice who was missing. Don't you say
This like
ah.
there's quite a few people missing.
Alicia.
Uh-huh. They told us that it was only supposed to be streets, and then I just
Yeah.
went in there anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
7:30 in the morning.
Yep.
On a Wednesday.
Mhm.
Neither one of us are here.
No.
Oh, on a Friday, excuse me, for
Mhm.
us.
Yeah.
So you know what we should do?
They get immortalized on the wall.
We should. Me too. I don't care. You know what I do? Let me take you and my picture. And then we can put ours in separate ones next to it.
You can like crop them in there.
Just to make jump. Come on. It'll be funny.
Yeah.
See, you said yeah, you say no.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
It came with everything. So for that.
Tim Beaton.
Hello there. I just went to the, city website. And you click, at the top of the agenda. Or you could click actually on the OSAC boards and commissions. It says meeting link. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Huh. Okay, yeah, I just click on the thing at the top of the agenda and then. Huh. Weird. Yep, see ya. Bye. I just talked to Tim. He was trying to, there he is.
Hey Nancy, how you doing?
I'm good, Shannon. How are you?
Good, good.
Doing good. Okay.
I know 2 people aren't coming tonight, so.
Did Cheryl get a hold of you?
What's that?
Did Cheryl get a hold of you?
No.
She's not coming.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna cut it close tonight. Did Cheryl say what committee she might want to be on?
No, we didn't talk about it.
I will text her. Hey, Tim. God, we're getting there. I'm gonna see if Cheryl will answer this text. That will help us a lot.
I'd be surprised, but
She on vacation?
no, she's at a dinner thing.
Oh, yeah, she probably shouldn't answer her phone, huh?
Yeah. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I can't remember what time it was supposed to start.
Let's see. I think, I wonder if other people, I had a hard time following the link. It wouldn't link to me, so I had to do it manually. So let's see who else figures this out, because right now we do not have who we need. Oh, looks like Judy's coming in. What do we need? 4?
Let's see, a majority of the voting members. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
What are our members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And we've got 10 people that can vote. So we ought to be able to get 4.
So we have 7 regular regular members. Seems
Right.
like we need.
I think Craig Karnak down there might
That's
be
Judy, yeah.
Judy, yeah. So we've got 4.
Good.
Seth, are you putting Craig on there, which is Judy?
Yeah, I think they're a panelist right now. They're sharing the screen right now.
Hey, Judy, unshare your screen.
So,
Looks like they're doing the same thing we were doing. There she is. Hey, Judy.
Hi.
You guys ready to go ahead and do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I think, yeah, okay, cool. We'll make it work. Hopefully some more
Yeah.
people join in. I know two people, TJ and Andrea, both had obligations that came up kind of last minute. So no big deal. So we'll call to order an announcement of member openings.
Is
I don't think-
Jim supposed to be on as a panelist?
No,
I don't know how that works, but
I was just moving everybody over.
okay. I think Jim's in the audience.
so I don't think we have any member openings, right?
Right. Yay.
Man, that's a first for a
That's awesome.
long time. That's good. So let's do approval of the minutes. Everybody in your packet, hopefully everybody got a chance to read those. We had the second draft of the May 5th minutes. It seems like we moved to approve those with an amendment. So I don't know if we need to approve them again. But we did get them in the packet so we could see that it was done right.
Yeah, I'm looking at May 23rd. That was the first one in the packet.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't at that meeting, but under absent, it says none. And there were obviously a few people absent that night, myself and TJ. I don't know who else, but
Yeah, is that something that could be my fault? Should we be voicing that? Because
usually,
whoever
yeah,
is taking the
usually-
minutes is looking at a video and they're probably don't know who's who.
yeah, I think in the past, we've always listed who was absent.
Okay, so that's probably
Who's
My bad.
absent or who's here?
Both.
how about we'll do it from here on out. We'll say who's here and the person taking the minutes can compare that
And write who's absent.
and then write who's absent.
Yeah.
Or write who's present and we'll know who's absent.
Well,
Tomato, right?
no, I think it's different because you want to, actually what we should have is absent excused, and people, the way it's supposed to be is if you're contacted, Shannon, it's an excused absence. If
But
you're
I
not-
mean, if it's not excused, what do we do to the people that are
guess-
unexcused?
My point is, if you don't list both the absence and the presence, you don't know if you've missed one.
Okay, cool. All right. So for tonight, the sake of tonight, we have Shannon, Tim, Judy, and Nancy Wilson. Cheryl, Anthony, Andrea, Steve, Jeff, and Robin are absent.
Right. And Tim's here too.
TJ and Andrea gave me a phone call about the meeting.
Mhm.
Is that good for the record, you think?
Yeah, he said Tim, Nancy.
Oh, he did?
I said Tim's here.
Yeah.
So now we have that, and I'll start doing that every time. We'll do maybe I'll put in there call to order on the agenda and roll call. Call to order, roll call, and announcement of member openings. So the minutes will have, I don't know who was here the last meeting or in that May meeting. I'm not sure who was here and who wasn't. So
I was here.
I was too, but I did not take a roll call. So
Judy, were you here last meeting?
in
Yeah.
May, yeah. No, in May. We're talking about May, Jeff.
Oh, May, way back.
June, I was here.
Okay, I was here then too.
So that was the May 23rd meeting.
Right.
I'll ask about that and we'll have it amended. And then anybody want to say anything about the June 27th minutes?
Let's see.
That May 23rd meeting was in person.
Yes. And we have lengthy minutes on
Yeah. How about June 27th? Anybody want to make a motion or make an amendment to those minutes?
it. I make a motion that we accept the minutes for June 27th.
Second,
All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I'm not sure how that's supposed to go.
Aye.
Looks like the motion passes unanimously. The May minutes, we approved those as amended last time.
okay.
I don't think the roll call, the roll was done right, or anybody even said anything about it. So I'll ask Skylar about that when he gets back. Is everybody all right with that?
Yes.
Agenda review and public comment on non-agenda items. Does anybody have any questions about the agenda or want to add or subtract anything? Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on a non-agenda item? Jim, this is the opportunity. I'm not going to be doing public comment anymore on random stuff throughout the meeting. So if there's anything that anybody wants to bring up, now's the time to do it. So raise your hand if you want to talk. Oh, Robin Kovats is here. Can we move her over, Seth?
I just saw that.
It does not look like Jim is raising his hand. So we'll move on. Everybody good with that? Moving on.
Yes.
Parks and Rec Advisory Board update. That was a very lengthy amount of minutes too. Anybody have any questions about that or comments? Nope. Nope. Parks Manager report. Do we skip that, Seth?
I've got something. Let's see.
Because you're on quite a bit later, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to cover this time for sure, but real quick, at 601 South Side, that's Dan Stewart's property. There's a social trail that runs through his property that always has that connects. It's like the Pawnee to the Crystal Valley Cemetery connection spot. His retaining wall on his driveway with the stones has failed and it fell into the trail. So for now, we've moved all the rocks and made it kind of safe for people to pass. He likes the trail and we're trying to get a formal easement to make it legal for us to come in and make the repair on his property. And Skylar said that he has contacted a surveyor and that's the first step where it's at in that process.
Is Dan wanting us to pay for that retaining wall?
I'm not sure OSAC specifically, but yeah, he wants us to fix it. The city.
So we're paying for the, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. So we're paying for the survey as well, or is he?
I'm not sure about that either, but probably, yeah.
How big of a piece of property is that, Seth?
His entire piece is rather large. It's
Yeah,
a
that's what I thought.
historic castle of some sort.
Oh, that's where the castle is, right?
That's
Yeah.
Red Rock
Yeah.
Castle. Mhm.
Yeah.
Red
okay.
Mountain Castle.
That could be an expensive survey.
I think so too.
We're not going to pay a surveyor before we discuss this more, right?
I don't think so. Anything that Skylar
Yeah.
would be doing right now would be coming from, general funds in our department, not something with OSAC.
Right. I think we just need to get some more clarity with Dan about what happens in the future, because there's been the tot lot was a big discussion. There's been a lot of weird land stuff up there. That's all I'll say about that. So
For sure.
it kind of changes with who it benefits. So let's have a big discussion about that. Not move on anything. I mean, get it clean and safe, but we need to explore all our options up there.
For sure. It's kind of a tricky situation with it being
Yeah.
on private property.
No, and Dan's a great guy, and he's definitely a open space advocate, but I think there's a lot of moving parts up there.
For sure. He's very easy to talk to and stuff. So that's nice.
Yep. Hey, can we put for the record that Robin Kovacs has joined us, and Robin, you will be a full member tonight since we're short.
Well, at least I have video today.
You're all in. Is there anything else, Seth?
That's it on my end for that one. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to new business. You guys will see in your packet, it's right after the Parab minutes. The long Parab minutes. It's a map with a blue line on it.
Yeah.
You'll notice, for your benefit, Judy, it's page 24 out of 30. This is an information only thing. This has nothing to do with our land at all. It comes up to the Inman Trail. Shanti of Manitou Cats and the school are putting a trail together, and you can see the beginning of that where the blue line starts, the two ends of the blue line. Imagine drawing a point in between those two. That's what the kids are doing now to get up to the trail. And it's basically a free for all. Am I describing that correctly, Seth? It's kind of a free for all going up that trail.
Yeah, a good word for it would be kind of scrambling up the rocks.
Looks like a lot like a cattle trail going up there. So Shanti and the high school students are going to do a project where they're using the high school kids as labor to reroute that. It's only 300 yards maybe of
I think that
trail
was the number. Yeah, 300 yards.
to get back up and just make a nice, easier grade trail. There's some I think there's some grant money for schools and all that. Anyway, they're paying for it. It's on their property. It has nothing to do with us, but we wanted to put it out there for information. If anybody's walking over there and sees a new trail being built and wonders why it didn't go through OSAC, because it didn't have to. Anybody have any questions about that? Yeah, Nancy.
No question, but a comment. When we had Mile High improving that trail above last year, Shanti approached me at the time. That was something that they've wanted to do. And I said, we don't have any agreement with the school district or anything else. We can't do it right now. So apparently, I'm going to assume he has done the legwork with the school district. We did the legwork with the school district in terms of connecting that trail down by the middle school, but not up by the high school. So this is great.
Yeah, it sounds like Dr. Domingue and him were out. They did the whole thing, and it sounds like a really cool deal. I like what he's doing with using the students. They're going to make it a semester-long project.
That's great.
Which we've already talked about, me and Seth and Skylar, a little bit, maybe tapping into that resource. It sounds like they have a little bit of outdoor education with the kids. And now that we have a crew leader in Seth, we could probably tap into that in the future. So,
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments about that? Nope.
I'll go ahead and say that we did attend a formal meeting with the school board. I'm not exactly sure the members there, but yeah, Shanti gave like a very professional presentation of the whole project, and everybody seems on board. And I think it just has to be voted on, and that's kind of the last step till it's finalized. So it's very close.
Cool. Number 2 under new business. Tim brought this to our attention, and we went out and did a hike on it. This is hard to describe, but I think everyone will know what I'm talking about. When you're looking at the maps, which there's a really good map in your packet. Let me find that map in our packet.
I didn't see that in our packet on this.
If you look in our packet, can everybody go to page 30 of 30 in our packet?
Mm-hmm.
and you see the Iron Mountain open space property, there's a very light green, long, skinny rectangle right to the north of that open space. Right north in the L of that. Does everybody see that?
Do you mean, I guess I don't know which way is. No. Yeah, to the right of the,
Yeah, in the L, it's right in the crook of the L. There's a long, skinny, light green parcel.
yeah, with a trail alongside it.
Yeah, the trail that's right to the north of it is the old Intamin Trail.
All right, okay.
So that little skinny parcel is ours. And it has, at the very beginning of it, I haven't walked too far up it. Tim, how far up that did you go?
You know, I went to, yeah, my hiking partner got concerned that we might be trespassing, which we weren't, but so we turned around. So I probably didn't go any further than you did. I went up the gully maybe a few hundred yards, a couple of 100 yards, something like that.
Okay, so what's going on there is someone has been cutting trees off going up that gully, and they're cutting them about 2 feet up, which is odd. We don't know what's going on, but I wanted to put it out there for everybody. If we wanted to think about some kind of trail sign, I'm not a big sign guy, but I certainly don't want people just cutting trees down. I hope someone is not thinking that this should be a new trail and they're going to do it on their own. Rogue wise, it didn't look like, the way they're cutting the trees down, it definitely didn't look like a trail builder. But we got trees missing and in a gully.
You know, sometimes that's what you do with those scrub oaks if you want to tear them out in a year or two, because they rot at the bottom and that gives you a lever to tear those things out. So I have no idea what somebody was thinking on that, though.
Yeah, so I wanted to hear everybody's opinion and maybe some ideas that, and someday when we reach a dead end with Beisel, this might be our only way to connect the Intamin Trail or to Iron Mountain Trail over there, which really isn't necessary because it connects in 3 other places. But I wanted to hear it. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think it would be a great place for a trail, especially since we have that, Manitou Springs leasing 2010 property over there right next to it. We might even have enough for a mountain bike trail, I don't know, but we certainly have enough for a hiking trail up there that connects to the trail that comes down from right below the gully up on Iron Mountain. And that's a connection to that trail, which is a really nice trail and doesn't go cross over into the Beisler property at all.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth maybe looking at the topography there because it's really skinny.
That one is, but it's right next to a, well, not entirely, but at least the upper part of it is right next to a big chunk that's owned by us.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, maybe it would be worth looking at that. I think the big thing right now would maybe to be is stop the bleeding.
Stop the bleeding, yeah.
On cutting down the trees. What do you guys think? Is there what should the sign say? It wouldn't be no trespassing because it's public land.
Don't cut the trees down.
Please.
I'm really confused. I don't know where this parcel is. I'm confused. Is this by the cemetery? Where the heck?
No. So it comes right off of Oklahoma.
Oh.
Right? Just to the west of the power lines, in between Oklahoma and the power lines. It's right above Bad Bob's property.
Oh, okay.
It's where the old, I don't know if you know the old Intamin Trail.
Yeah.
Where that ran, it's right off that. It's right off that.
Oh, okay.
To the west.
Well, people still use it. I mean, I still hike that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that isn't a part of the trail. That
where the trees are cut are not on the trail.
Oh, okay. But they're in that open space, that green space.
that light green space.
So do you think it's somebody who has a house there?
I don't know. It goes up to Iron Mountain. Hey, real quick, I need to interrupt. Steve Brimner is in the audience now, Seth, raising his hand. Can you move him over to a panelist? Go ahead, Nancy. Yeah, so it's not towards the neighborhood. It's towards Iron Mountain where the trees are down.
Oh, just out in the middle of nowhere?
No, it goes up a
Like the social
gully.
trail?
No, it's not even a trail. It's just
Oh, it's
cut
not
down
even on the
trees.
trail. Okay.
It's just cut down trees right in the gully.
Super random. I mean, it's not.
Could it have something to do with water mitigation or erosion or something like that? No?
No, I mean, it's random. What would you say, Seth? I mean, that's about as random as it gets. Like just hacking down some trees. It looked like it went back like 100 yards back, a tree cutting.
Yeah, at an awkward, like chest high length.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
so-
not a well done hack job.
Mm.
And it's ponderosas or?
No.
Every tree that's in the way. It was like some scrub oak. There was a big elm or cottonwood.
And it doesn't have anything to do with the power lines.
Nope.
Looks like just someone was just messing around, honestly.
Yeah, it does. I agree with that.
Hmm.
So what do you guys think of some little, it's in a good place where I think you could put some sign, maybe a sign that says, please don't cut the trees, pretty please. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be a sign Nazi.
Has it
I-
happened? Oh, I
Does
mean, it was all done at once or it's been happening again and again? Is there any way to tell that? No.
I don't know.
What do you think, Seth? Were any of those cuts recent?
They looked kind of old. I've noticed it when I first started about a year ago, and I just overlooked it. You know, I didn't really look into it or think about it too much because it was old then too. So, but I will say that we have a sign. I'll try to describe it with like a hiker symbol with an X or like cross through it that says no trespassing, not a public trail. That
Mm.
could be put there if that's an option that we wanted to do.
I don't think so. I don't think we want to say no trespassing. People can walk up there if they want, but we just don't want them cutting trees down.
I'm wondering if it might behoove us to just kind of monitor it and see. I'm wondering if it was kids out playing.
Yeah.
Anybody else have thoughts?
If it looks old, I'm thinking monitor it and see if anything new happens.
Yeah,
Yep. I agree.
Let's do that.
yeah.
But I wanted everybody to know that it was happening and someday, and I think me and Seth, because I'm doing a hike with Seth and Skylar once a month before our meetings, I think we might try to bushwhack up that and see the viability. Maybe we can make it a group participation thing after we see the viability of it. I mean, because I don't want to go up there and bushwhack with 10 people. But if we go up there and see that, hey, we could actually get all 10 of us up there with minimal effort, maybe it might be worth going up there and talking about putting a trail through there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have Seth's opinion on the whole thing as a trail builder, crew leader type thing now. You guys
Sounds
cool with
good.
that?
Yep.
Is it something we should do, Shannon, before we have our planning retreat?
Seth, you want to try and me and you to do that before and then bring that to the next meeting,
Yeah.
next regular meeting?
Yeah, if you'd like to, that'd be
Okay.
good.
And as individuals, we can go up there and look at it.
Anytime.
For sure.
Everybody can go up. So, and then if it's viable, I just don't want to take 10 people up there and everybody cussing me because you're in forest this dense trying to get through it and 60-degree angle. I don't want to be that guy. So,
Come on.
well, you know,
Come on, Shannon. We'd follow you anywhere.
I wouldn't do that.
But we'd have to post it.
Anyway, so let's leave that at that. We'll monitor it and then we'll get back with you guys and we'll try and put together maybe a group outing up there if it's even something we can get through. I mean, it's pretty dense and it's steep, really steep. So So
And
let's
it
move on.
doesn't
to-
sound like it'll be an easy trail.
No, it doesn't at all. I don't think so. So, anyway, let's move to old business. Serpentine property update. I don't know if anybody's heard any of the drama or any of the stuff, but I'm going to kind of clue you guys in. The good news is we closed on the Serpentine property last week. It is now part of our open space inventory. And that's a big purchase for the city. It's something we've been talking about literally for 20 some years. And it is ours now. So this property has been in the hands, as OSAC goes, Nancy Fortune, Mike Mayo, Nancy Wilson, and now me, as far as trying to get this piece of property. Somewhere along the line, I think we missed some I's and crossing of the T's, and we need to clean this up a little bit. So I don't know if everybody remembers the last executive session, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nancy, because I was not chair then, I think was in January.
I'd have to go back, but yeah, that makes sense to
And-
me.
and just so everybody knows, we can discuss this now because it's a done deal and we closed on this property.
Right.
But as we all know, in executive session, we only have those for certain reasons. And land acquisition is really open spaces. The only time we're going to have an executive session is to deal with land acquisition. We had the executive session. We all agreed that we wanted this piece of property. We all knew that it was going to be about $105,000. But in that open space, in that meeting, we brought up the fact that we were not in the business of buying roads. And Serpentine Road ran right on the south side of that piece of property. And Dole, was his name Dole?
Yeah.
The
He
Dole
told us,
Gretnick, the engineer.
yeah, he said that he was going to figure out the percentage of the land was the street and take that out of the purchase price. And if I recall, and everybody seems to recall the same thing, including Denise, Dole, and Skylar, we all agreed by a head nod that we wanted to do that. Does
Yeah.
everybody remember that? So the problem with that, and hopefully, and as a volunteer committee, it's hard to know those kind of things, especially the only reason I know it is because I was on city council and we had an attorney sitting at every meeting telling us what to do, literally verbatim. As a volunteer committee, we don't have that. What we should have done is come out of the meeting and voted to approve that purchase. Go ahead, Nancy.
We didn't do that
We did not do that.
because we were waiting for the formal
Final numbers.
resolution from the city. We were waiting for the city to come to us and say, this is the amount of money we want from OSAC. And then we would have approved it at the next time. Because they didn't know if the deal was going to go through at that time, and because they were in the middle of negotiations, it was just left there. So I don't think we're to blame in any way.
No.
It was up to the city to come back to us with a resolution asking us for the money, a certain amount, and getting our approval. And that never happened, even though we all agreed in executive session, we weren't allowed to take a vote at that time. And we didn't.
Right.
So I think we followed everything the way we were supposed to.
We did, and we're not in trouble. There was just the big thing here that we need everybody involved, not necessarily us, but the powers that be. We had this go through like several different planning staff that are no longer with us. When this all went down, Dylan was the only one even in planning. So I think basically what we need to do tonight is make a motion and I'm going to tell you guys all the numbers to clean this up. So Rebecca, the finance person, can write a check for this property, but we've already closed. It's already happened. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, do we have to wait for the survey and all of that on the road to determine what portion we're taking out to vote on a number?
Dole did that, and well, so,
Okay.
and here's the thing, all the numbers have been done. Like we don't really, it's a done deal.
Okay.
It has happened. What I want to do, because I have to go in front of council with Skylar and explain how we got to this without it going back to council, which is really not our fault. We didn't do it, but we're going to go to council and explain how this happened, hopefully without throwing any city staff under the bus. But yeah, this is, so what happened, the property was $105,000, which is a smoking deal. 87% of that property was open space and 13% of it was roads.
Oh, okay. Great.
So that brought open spaces total to 91,350, and 13,650 came out of the transportation budget. So as you guys all know, we have, well, maybe we don't know, we had $100,000 budgeted for land acquisition. And we just spent, I think, $31,000 on the ITEL property. But we had a budget item for $150,000 for grant matches. And we all talked about that grant match could be most likely for Creek Walk someday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we at least state that we were gonna give Creek Walk $100,000?
Right. And the
So
whole
that
thing
was
here,
in that grant match thing. Yeah.
right.
Chuck, okay, thanks.
And we had to be, and for the people that are new on the board, we were purposefully very vague about this property because this property was very, very, very sensitive. We're dealing with a foreigner from literally across the world, and it could have fallen through at any moment. And we got a smoking deal. So we were not talking out loud about this property. City Council had multiple executive sessions. Steve Bremner might be able to shed some light on that. So we all knew what we were doing, but we were being very vague about the name. So,
Well, and Shannon, just to, yeah. When we budget 100 or 150,000 for acquisition, which we've been doing for years, we've been rolling that over for years for reasons exactly like this. The other thing is that, but you know, that budget is not set in stone. If we had to move some money from grant acquisition from grant match into property acquisition, you know, that's something that would be our purview to do. So we've certainly got both the 91,000 and the 31,000, you know, under acquisitions to
right.
do within this budget.
And you know what, guys, I feel like I'm being defensive and trying to justify this only because of some things that went down at the council meeting. But does anybody have any questions or concerns about this? Because I think as a group, we all are on the same page. I could be really wrong, but I think this was a common goal of the whole city. And there was just some housekeeping issues with staff that we as a committee can help clean up.
So
Sounds good. Yeah.
I would move to approve $91,350 towards the purchase of, I don't know what you want to call it,
The Serpentine property.
the Serpentine property.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your hand.
Discussion.
Say aye. Oh, hey, Steve, you can be a voting member tonight too, because we're pretty short staffed. So, sorry. And for the record, Steve Bremner's here. Anybody, I guess that passed unanimously. Skylar asked me to get a vote on that. So this is going to help a lot. I think everybody's going to be in a lot better mood about this. The next item is a subcommittee assignment, the schedules, the goals, and the expectations. As you guys all know, in the last meeting, we had agreed upon having an open space management committee. And we agreed on having a trails management committee. What I would like to see, and this comes from meetings with staff, this is not just off the top of my head, and it's open for discussion. I do not want to say that this is the way it is, just because me and Skylar and Seth kind of agreed that it would smooth things up. Everybody will be, we don't want to have double people on committees. We don't want to have everybody on 2 committees. We don't have anybody on 2 committees. So we want to divvy up the committees amongst ourselves with everybody only on 1. And then I was hoping for everybody to kind of pick one that they like and tell us what they want to do. And then once we get them divvied up, we need to also talk about the schedule, how we're going to do that. And I have some ideas I'm going to throw out. And then as a group, I want to do this as a group instead of as certain committees. I think as a group, we need to make our goals and expectations instead of the committees set their own goals and expectations. I think we jointly need to do that. So so Andrea and TJ have already said, they've talked to me because they couldn't be here tonight, that they would like to be on the Trails Management Committee. Does anybody else? You want to be on Trails Management?
I wanted to say something.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe it would be a good idea just to very quickly say what the difference is.
The difference, the Trails Management Committee, and so we're going to have goals and expectations of both. But Trails Management, and what we're trying to do, and we got a lot of this from the last meeting, is think more long-term visionary stuff, not the day-to-day minutia. That's what Seth and Skylar are for, not micromanaging anybody, but the long-term visionary. Someday we want to trail here. Someday we want to do this. This is what we'd like to have lined up Mile High Youth Corps every year, or RIMFE, or whoever. Those are just examples off the top of my head. Open space management, I think mainly will be land acquisition, but it can also be the little management plans. It can be divvying up the zoning, because we have a whole bunch of zoning we got to redo that didn't make it through the cracks. And 10 million other things, but we'll figure those out once we get to the goals and expectations. Does that help, Judy? Did that make sense?
I just thought it'd be good to review that. So
What's that?
I just thought it would be good to review that.
Yeah. So how does, Nancy.
Well, I think open space management is also open space management. It would include noxious weeds and
Everything. Yep. Good point. And maybe we can make this kind of a flowing conversation. Noxious weed management would be one of the goals of the open space management.
well, we have open space management plans
Yeah.
For each
that include
parcel.
all those things.
Right.
So homeless camps and
How about implementation of the management of noxious weeds?
well, I think Shannon, you and I talked about this. I think the place to start with this is the goals that are in the post plan. And those goals can be divided can be broken down among those 2 committees. Some are clearly more about trails, some are more clearly about open space. And that's a great starting point for the assignment.
I know you know this like the back of your hand, but do you have a page number on the goals for the open space part?
It's over several pages, but
I figured
yeah.
you might have that memorized.
Hold on, I don't have it memorized, but I just don't have them marked. I think
Oh yeah, here they are. So
we're part of Gold 1.
Yep.
What page are you on, Shannon?
Yeah, page 11.
Anyway, if you in the post plan, if you just go to the goals starting on page 139, it becomes apparent, and you go through those, which ones belong to PARAP and which ones belong to us.
Right.
And we just, I can break those down more. I'd be willing to break them down and put them
Into the 2 subcommittees.
in those 2 categories.
That would be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Let's do that. And then so that will really help us with our goals and expectations things. So
Right.
how about let's do a quick, who wants to be on what committee? Nancy, which one would you pick if you could pick?
I'll be on trails. Unless you have too many on there, and then I'd be on open space. I don't care. But
How about Judy?
I'll do land acquisition.
Robin?
Open space.
Steve?
Well, I'll do open space, I guess.
Tim?
How many do we have on each?
Right now we have 3 on each.
Okay. I want to be on both. Okay, I know.
That's the first rule I said we're not gonna do, man.
No, I'll be on open space.
Okay, so that leaves, we have Jeff, Cheryl, and TJ. Well, TJ already told me. So that's just basically Jeff and Cheryl. Am I right about that?
and you,
And me, yeah, me. I'll just take whatever is lopsided once it's over. Jeff had asked to be on the land acquisition committee. Do you think it's fair that we assign him to that?
sure.
So
Ah.
Jeff will be on that.
Do
And
that.
we'll put Cheryl
So-
on trails management.
I think she'll be okay with that.
I have a question. Is there 3 categories now?
No, just 2.
Okay, because you said land acquisition. Is that open
Yeah,
space?
well, okay, so before, Steve, we had a whole bunch of different committees. We have narrowed it down to open space management and trails management. Open space, the land acquisition falls under open space management now.
Okay,
So, and we're gonna make this, this is a process. So that puts Cheryl on that. That's 1, 2, 5 on the open space management. Trails management only has 4. So I'll go to trails management. Now, the next step here is,
Wait a second.
That
That's not,
doesn't seem right.
it's the open space that's short.
the open space management is Judy, Steve, Robin, Tim, and Jeff. The
Jeff.
trails management is Andrea, TJ, Nancy, and Cheryl. And I put myself on that one because it's
Okay.
only 4 people.
Andrea, Nancy, TJ, Jeff, and Cheryl's 5.
Jeff is on open space management.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. And I
So
just,
what we need on both groups, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can get either Nancy or you on the open space, just for the depth of
Knowledge. I was thinking the same thing.
You want me to put Jeff on trails and me or Nancy go to open space management?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay. Nancy, what do you want to do? You want to stay on trails?
yeah,
Okay, I will go to open space management.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good point, Tim. Thank you. Okay, so the next step here, and these 2 steps might go together. And this is far-fetched. I know this is going to push some people out of their comfort zone because it's a change. But what I was thinking, and I think we can do this, if you guys have ever tried to do a subcommittee meeting, it's really hard to, first of all, get everybody to decide on the same day that they can do it, the same time they can do it. Once we get those 2 problems solved, it's really hard to find a space to do it. I don't really want us to have to meet anywhere outside of a city building, because the last time I did that, everybody was upset. And I really don't want to play that game again. I know it's in the past, but there's no, if we can avoid it, we can avoid it. So my suggestion, and I think it would really help us, and I think it will take a little bit to figure it out, is to have every single 4th Monday of the month, one of them is an open space meeting, The next month will be an open space management subcommittee meeting. And then the next month would be the trails management subcommittee meeting. And then we all meet back together. And it's always at 6 o'clock on a Monday. Nobody has to worry about figuring out if a Thursday at 3 o'clock at the coffee shop works. We always have that meeting spot. And if we don't need to have the subcommittee meeting, we can have an open space meeting. We always have the spot held at City Hall. And staff always knows when the meeting is. They don't have to sit around and figure out their schedule around us. Anybody else? Go ahead, Nancy.
But well, the other thing you left out in terms of difficulty is the meetings always have to be posted.
Right.
And there always has to be minutes taken. So, I mean, there wouldn't be any votes in the formal votes in the subcommittee meetings, but nevertheless, they would have to decide what they want to pass back to the committee of the whole.
And there still needs to be minutes.
There still needs to be minutes and there still needs to be a posting.
So this would not make us have to spend more money on our minute taker. This would give us those Mondays. And as I said, if something comes up, we always have the spot held. So if there's open space business that has to happen, half of us are already going to every meeting. We're only missing one meeting as a group.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be plenty of work to do on those subcommittees.
I do
Especially
too.
when we get the goals assigned. And I think we'll be able to get a lot more work done as a subcommittee and then bring it back to the committee of the whole. And you're right, it's planning all those meetings and getting everybody to come and where and what time and all that is the hassle. But
And
we
then-
all already have Monday, the fourth Monday always reserved, so.
Because I mean, we're volunteers. Some of us don't work, some of us do work, some of us are retired. It's hard to figure that out. And then once we figure that out, we got to make sure that staff isn't in a training or on a trail or whatever. So I think this is a great idea. Me and Skylar talked about it in depth. If everybody's cool with that, that's what we'll do. Does everybody like this so far?
Mhm.
yeah.
We should
And
try it.
This is what Monday of the month?
Yeah, it's Monday. It's going to be 6 o'clock on Monday from
Right,
here on out.
it's always that. But
Yep.
This is going to be the fourth Monday.
Just like our meetings now. Yep.
Okay. So one month. 1 month it will be one committee, and the next month it will be the other.
Right. And
And
then
then-
an open space altogether meeting.
It's the third of the month, the third month.
Yeah, however we want to say it.
Are we the third Monday or the fourth Monday of the month?
Fourth.
We're the fourth. So it'll always be the fourth Monday of the month. And you will have a meeting 2 out of every 3 months
Right.
on the
Right.
fourth Monday.
Cool.
The committee just won't meet that particular month when
Right.
counterpart is meeting.
Unless there's something that has to come up, and we'll communicate that. And that will probably be Skylar and Seth's call. Like, hey, this came up. We need you to be at this meeting. So
And they're going to be in the town hall.
what's that?
That'll be in the town hall.
Or
That-
Zoom, most likely
Or
Zoom.
Zoom.
We can do it however, and that's the next step. We need someone in charge of both of the committees. We don't need officers, we don't need any of that, but we need someone to set an agenda is basically all you'll be responsible for. And it cannot be me or Tim. So we'll take volunteers for that.
I'm volunteering Andrea
Ah,
Text her.
for trails.
I think she would be a great fit.
Well, and she's done it. She's been chair of the Trails Subcommittee. So she's got on her computer, the whole spreadsheet and all of that. I don't know if she's willing. I think she'd be great for trails.
I do too. I'm gonna text her. How about open space management? Who would like to do that?
Well, who do we have left? Who's on that?
Steve, Robin, and Judy.
And you, Tim.
And me.
Mhm.
Tim, you could be in charge of that.
Yeah, you just have to set the
You-
agenda.
You just said that I couldn't be in charge of that because. I
Well,
was-
so Tim, we had a discussion, Skylar, we and I were talking about chair and a vice chair be in charge of each committee, and that's what got shot down. So if you wanted to, you could.
Sure, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yes, Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm texting, sorry, I'm real slow at this.
And then each committee will use the same person to do the minutes, take the notes for the minutes on that committee's meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll have because I think the way the minutes are taken is they record them and give the recording to the person. Is that right, Seth? That looked like a really big head nod.
I believe so, sorry.
I haven't heard from Andrea, but let's put her as that, as this meeting goes. Just for the sake of officialness. Tim, and then let's do, how about this? That's really all we need to do with this meeting. And then the next meeting, and this is something we're going to discuss too. Might as well discuss it now. The next meeting, we need to have an August meeting. We need to have our budget retreat very, very soon. August or September. We can do it as late as I think September would be fine too. So we might not have one of these subcommittees till October. We'll do the next two meetings as regular meetings. The next one will be Nancy you'll have the breakdown maybe
Yeah.
of goals and expectations to each one.
Well, what I will do is I'll go through the post-plan goals and actions and assign them to each committee, or assign what I think belongs to each committee to each committee. There will be some overlap.
Yep.
It is kind of committee of the whole kind of thing, but to the best of my ability, and then we can discuss it and decide. But at least all the goals off post will be in front of us. Obviously, we can't do them all at the same time, but it'll help in prioritizing our goals and our budget for the next year.
Okay. So we'll hash all that out at the next meeting, which will get us that done before the next budget meeting retreat. Let's plan on doing a budget meeting retreat at our Monday meeting in September. Everybody cool with that?
Mhm.
We'll talk about that more in the
So that'll be
future
one,
agenda.
Okay.
the 26th
So
of September.
do we need to have a motion about these subcommittees?
I don't know. I think it's our structure, our meeting structure. I don't know.
What do you guys think? We had a motion
Yeah,
to make these two committees.
We tabled it because we wanted to talk about it this time. I think.
What's that,
is
Judy?
there-
Tim, do you remember that? I thought we tabled it because we wanted to talk about the structure this time and then have the motion. Because we didn't really have anything in place.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if there's any problem with having a motion about something that we don't need to have a motion about.
Yeah, I don't think we need to have a motion. Is that? I just don't want to, now that I've had this Serpentine thing where we didn't have a motion, I just want to make sure we're.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and have a motion, and if we don't
Yeah.
need it, we're covered.
We can
Yeah.
unmotion it.
We
It's
can
gonna
unmotion
affect the
it.
website. I just realized it's gonna affect the website, for example, because the website says OSAC meets on the fourth Monday of every month, blah, blah, blah. And that might have to be changed to OSAC and subcommittees or subcommittees meet on the,
Okay. So how about we entertain a motion stating that Judy, Steve, Robin, Shannon, and Tim are on the Open Space Management Committee, and Andrea, TJ, Jeff, Nancy, Cheryl are on the Trails Management Subcommittee, with Andrea as the leader and Tim as the leader of their respective committees.
I want to ask a
Just
question.
flows right out.
What's that? What'd you say, Tim?
I said it just flows right out. Do we need a motion to create these subcommittees to start with?
I think if someone said so moved, we would be where we need to be.
So moved.
I also have a question, Shane. I
Yes,
know it's
Judy.
Probably the wrong time, but, so shouldn't the alternates also be assigned to a subcommittee? Would that be helpful?
They all are.
they all are.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't think. Robin-
I'll second the motion if we need a second.
We do. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. That, guys, I think this is gonna streamline our whole thing. And that's kind of exciting. I like efficiency. So we'll move on to number 3, trail maintenance. The Renfree Red Mountain update, that's Seth.
I'll just do both really quick here. Renfree's right on track as of last time. Still in contact with Alex from there. We're just working on details about like where they should park and coordinating with supplies. Mile High Youth Corps project. We got the dates nailed down, and the completed city contract is actually included in the packet. We have a walkthrough with Olympia Vita, who's going to be the crew leader on the project on the 20th at 8 a.m.
The
So, and I
20th of
just-
August.
20th of September, sorry. And I just spoke with her this morning, so that's super recent.
At what time?
When I spoke to her this morning,
No, the walkthrough.
8 a.m. So everything's on track for that as well.
Awesome. Nancy?
Couple of questions. On the Renfree project, Seth, have they decided how they're going to attack it? Whether they're going to bring timbers up there, they're going to cut trees on site, or how they're going to do that?
Yeah, I think for easiness and the measurements that they took on the project, they're going to build it with timbers and with our help, kind of shuttle the supplies up there, at least to the intersection, and then their crew can take it up the rest of the way.
Uh-huh. And they think they can complete that switchback in 2 weeks?
I think so. Yeah, they feel pretty confident about it. They're going to use it as a volunteer event as well, I believe. So they'll have some extra hands on it.
Okay, great. And where do you plan on Mile High working?
Actually, Red Mountain Trail as well. Just doing general tread work and possible timber staircase in the washed out kind of gully area.
Oh, good. Okay.
The super steep area.
Yep.
Do we
Okay.
have them for 2 weeks, Seth?
We do, yeah. And they are actually the next 2 weeks right after Renfree. So Renfree's early October and Mile High is scheduled for late October.
Great.
And you'll be able to keep them busy for 2 weeks?
For sure.
Awesome.
I saw a Red Mountain truck up there above Spring Street today,
You saw what?
a Renfree truck
Oh, okay.
up there parked. I don't know if they were scouting or what.
Interesting. Yeah.
Probably doing the incline. Does anybody have any questions? These are all really awesome things that we've been working on for a long time. So, and it's really nice to have Mile High Youth Corps coming and have a plan for them. we've seemed to in the past been scrambling a little bit, like we got to figure out what to do. So Seth, really good work, man.
Thank you. I will mention the project scope is in the contract as well. Just kind of a loose idea of what we're gonna do. Gonna meet with Olympia and see the realistic expectations, you know, and just kind of get more detailed as we go.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Nope. The next item is the West Side LLC property slash Colorado Springs. And Seth, correct, Skylar knows the most about this, but me and Seth might know more. I was updated. Colorado Springs is going to be receiving that property. And if everybody, let me see if I can find this on the map. If everybody looks at page 30 of their the new map, and we're going to discuss that here in a little bit, says you can look at the top. There's a pink thing that says cliff dwellings. Right to the right of the cliff, and Tim, keep me straight here. Make sure I'm saying this right. Right to the right, that light green section is our Black Canyon open space. And the LLC property is that little thing that looks like Missouri or Mississippi. I'm not sure which one. In all white. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Does everybody see that?
Yep.
The West Side LLC property was owned by Steve Shuck. He's also the guy. Steve Shuck is the one who not donated. He is the one who basically made Stratton Open Space happen. We approached him a couple of years ago when Mike Mayo was still in charge and just asked, hey, can we have it? Because we need it. And that's really the only way we can access that property. Without those big cliffs. There's huge cliffs off Black Canyon Road, but West Side just makes it really easy. We were supposed to get it, but I don't know what happened or how it happened, but Colorado Springs Parks and Rec are the ones who will be owning it very soon. Skylar has been in talks with, is it Dave Diedemeyer? Do I have that name right?
Steve Diedemeyer.
Yeah.
Steve, I believe.
Yeah, so, and they have said that they're going to grant us, and I don't know, do you know, Seth, when this is all happening, when they'll actually own that property?
So what I have written down from Skylar is, let's see, they're on track to accept donation of the three. They're getting like 3 parcels in that area, but the West Side one is the one that we're interested in. They're excited to talk about an easement after the acceptance of the property. They're open to collaboration for a master plan of Black Canyon, and then a couple years out from the master plan probably. But as far as acceptance of the property, I don't have anything done.
Okay. So it happened, and I think, or correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, it sure seemed like Skylar said something about we're months out, not years.
Correct.
So,
I think it's sooner than a year for sure.
yeah. So
Safe to assume.
this is exciting because this helps us with that Black Canyon easement thing that we figured out we don't have. So when this happens, we are going to have an easy access to our Black Canyon open space, which brings us to, we're going to need to start thinking, we can't really discuss it tonight, but start thinking about getting this onto a future agenda, some kind of little plan. I want to say master plan, but master plan sounds kind of big, for the Black Canyon open space and how we connect it all to the road, to public access. Where do we park people? And what are we going to do with that space? We can't connect it to anything yet, but we have an open space. And I think, as Nancy has said, I think starting to get trail up there would put people up there, which should help with the homeless problem. So anybody have any questions or comments on this west side property? This is very exciting stuff.
When this does happen, would we get to walk up there?
We can walk up there now and you're trespassing, but we've all done it. And yeah, so it's a thing. It's our property. Anybody can walk up there.
Yeah, there was a huge cleanup this month
Right.
that they cleaned up a couple homeless camps that were just monstrous.
Yeah, huge one. Nancy was there. How was that, Nancy?
Grueling. I didn't even get my picture in the paper. I guess I left too soon. But it was, it was grueling. We hauled a huge dump truck load of junk out of there. It was gross. But the thing that it really hit for me again is that people are up there. People are tromping all over up there, and we're going to end up with a mishmash of social trails and everything else. We really do need to get a trail in there, even if it's an out and back with a loop at the top. And the sooner we do that, the sooner it will reduce the homeless problem. If we hear any pushback from the folks at Cedar Heights, my question back with them would be, do you want homeless people or do you want hikers who are hopefully operating under leave no trace?
Right.
So there are a lot of really neat possibilities as far as trail alignment in that area. And one of the things to start thinking about is, do we want to hire professionals to do that alignment, which we did at one point with Red Mountain? Or do we want to figure it out ourselves? Do we want to let Seth and Skylar figure it out? I mean, there's one really cool access using the gully, which is very nice red sandstone layout that could leave a lot of less trail. The guy from the police department who was supervising the cleanup had us follow the chain link fence that's on one side of the property up. I don't think that looks like a good trail at all. So anyway, there's a lot of decisions and a lot of work to be done, but I think in order to preserve that property as open space, we need to hop on it and get a trail in a good alignment.
What I would say needs to happen is, to get up on the ridge, we need to make a trail that's, switchbacks up there, that's sustainable, and then block off any social trails. Just make that one trail getting up to the ridge. Once on the ridge, there's that old wagon road that exists, which is, it's even got
already a great
rocks
trail.
lining it. It's got rocks lining it on either side. It's a beautiful trail.
Yeah.
Once we get up there, then that will be the natural trail. But the question is, we got to get up there first, which is going to go through the Western LLC property.
Right.
And I'd also like to say that this is the second time we've gone in there and cleaned up a huge mess from the homeless camps. A couple of years ago, the exact same thing happened.
Yeah.
So I think more people are going up there to be vigilant, to watch for people, to make sure and tell them, no, you can't camp here, and make a move before they make another big mess.
Yeah.
That's going to be the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for those that haven't been up there, this trail is it's not going to be long. It's not going to be the crown jewel of Manitou by any means. However, you're seeing like a totally different aspect of Manitou. Like, we're all used to looking out at the garden or looking at these other trails. This is looking back at Manitou and Red Rocks. It really gives you a totally different perspective of Manitou. So it's kind of fresh, it's kind of cool, totally different scenery. It's very Moab-ish in parts, and beautiful views. I mean,
It's beautiful. It's
really pretty views. And someday, I think, hopefully in our lifetime, we'll see it connect to ring all of Manitou. But that's a whole nother discussion. What I really want to do is at our budget meeting, kind of hammer out, and our budget, when I say budget, it's budget/priorities. So people that haven't been around, we do a priority meeting retreat type thing every year. And hopefully as a group we'll agree that this will be a priority to get it going next year. So whatever we have to do that. Does anybody else have questions? Nancy, yeah.
I just want to say, I totally agree with what Steve is saying. And one of the things we should check out is because when we got the conservation easement on that property, there was a plan and restrictions, you know, for example, I know we can't build anything on it. Even if we wanted to put, you know, a picnic table up at the trailhead of the old wagon road or something, or an interpretive sign up there explaining the old wagon road, we need to consult with that plan and with the Palmer Land Trust about what we can do on that property and what we can't do before we start the trail stuff and all that.
100%.
Yeah, so somebody needs to look at that management plan because
I will do that with Seth and Skylar maybe. And then, so what about the archaeological survey? Was that, I am kind of unclear.
Dylan thought it was going to be done, you know, first part of this year, but it's totally worth checking with him.
Well, and that's something that was just kind of something we wanted to do. It seemed like Mike Mayo had a hand in that with a guy named
Mike
Bo.
really wanted to do it. And so did several members of the committee. And it's
Is
just
it a
hopeless.
requirement?
I don't think it was a requirement but if you look at the management plan, you'll be able to tell us.
Okay. I guess I'm curious how it came about, because that seemed to be in the works before I was on open space, and it's drug on now for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'll find out where that, go ahead, Robin.
Well, I live across the street from Bo, the guy who, the archaeological person who did the survey.
Uh-huh.
So I can ask him.
Yeah, ask him where that's at. And
Yeah, how, yeah. I'll
and
ask
what do
him.
we do with it once we have it? That's a curiosity too. I mean, is it just information purposes or?
Well, I think
And we don't want to put a trail right through the middle of
we want to make
multiple
sure we
trees.
preserve things that really should be preserved.
Right.
And if we need an interpretive sign, if that's allowed, you know, we might want to put one up in some of these spots that are archaeologically important.
Cool. So maybe you talk to Bo, I'll look at the master plan, and then we'll start talking. I think sure sounds like we'll have some consensus when we do a priority meeting type thing. Anybody else have comments or questions about the west side thing? Nope. Let's move to item number 5, the land map update. This is pretty cool, and please know everybody that this is everybody has opportunity to put input into this. Everybody has a different skill set as far as reading maps. Everybody, it's very I don't know what the word is. Some people are map people and some people aren't. So we're trying to make this as simple as it can be for people. Skylar, this is the second or third rendition of this that he's been working on. He's going to make it's going to be interactive and online at some point.
Where is it? What are we?
What's that?
Are we
It's
looking
on
at a
page
map?
30.
Okay.
We've been talking about some kind of map that will show everybody what land management. And I think from the last meeting, Skylar did a really good job of taking what people asked to see on the map and put it on the map. What do you guys think? Tim?
Yeah, a couple of questions. First of all, when this thing is online interactive, are we going to be able to select the layers that we want to see on that map?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay, because the key over here, where it has trails, public properties, owners, stuff like that, is I don't know about anybody else. I'm not. I have a little bit of color blindness, but the color keys, as busy as it is,
Yeah.
are not real clear to me.
No, I agree with that. And that's what we're looking at tonight. We want to kind of see,
So,
especially the,
so what
especially
I'm
the
asking is, am I gonna be able to click on this and say, I don't want to see the trails, or I don't want to see the owners? Get rid of that, and let me just see where the land boundaries are. Or I don't know what level of layers are we going to be able to get.
it sounds like we can get whatever we want.
Okay.
Seth, do you know anything about this?
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I've never done this before. Let's see. Okay, can everyone see what I'm looking at here, the map?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the prototype of the interactive map that we're kind of talking about. It's developed by the in-house GIS technician that we have.
Mhm.
So it should be pretty simple and straightforward like this, but again, like Shannon was saying, we need input kind of thing. But if you can look at this, this is kind of the interactive version of what we're looking at in the packet. And down here is the legend where you can see trailhead, streams, trails, city limits, and what everything stands for. And then the other button, it's very simple and intuitive, is the layers button. And where you'll have all of
Oh,
the
great,
layers,
great.
the layers that will be available to the map, which will be selectable and deselectable. So you can click on this one and we'll just turn all of the layers off. And so essentially there's nothing there, and you can add or take away as much as you want. So as you start to add the layers, the bigger picture kind of starts to appear. And that's pretty much
Cool.
it.
That's
pretty
great.
awesome.
Great.
Yeah. So yeah, there's still things that have to be changed. As you can see, like the text is below the layers and it needs to be on top of it. But yeah, I definitely wanted to show you guys that this is what's in the works.
That's excellent.
That's great. Yeah, in terms of printing, if they wanted to cut down places like Cave of the Winds and Garden of the Gods, or not Garden of the Gods, but Cliff House and Cave of the Winds,
Cliff dwellings.
wouldn't necessarily if they have a label on them that says that, they wouldn't necessarily need their own color. You could just
Right.
have one color for private property.
I agree too. That's like Adventures Out West
Yeah.
as well.
Those could all be private property because they're already going to have their name on them as well. And then you wouldn't have quite so many colors to deal with. 'Cause
Yeah,
I couldn't
okay.
tell them apart either.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
agree. Any other questions before I turn off the share screen?
Yeah, Seth, I have a question, and I don't
Yeah.
know, this might be, this is all so foreign to me to be able to do this. Do you think that there's any way that there could be, like how the Onyx app, you can hover and click on a certain lot and it will tell you exactly who owns it? Do you think that might be in the future of this map? Because that would certainly help people for the land acquisition discussions.
Yes, I think it's a possibility for sure, but I know that El Paso.
I think that's a very big ask. But
yeah, I know that I've seen it before. Somewhere like on El Paso County, they have a really good interactive map like that they used in Zoom meetings for cities before, but I'm
Right.
not sure how to access it, but I know that does exist.
I wonder if we could ask our GIS person if that could be a layer in there too, like land ownership, because that would be next level.
I can definitely ask. Yeah.
That would be great. Or a drill down capability where we click on a section of property and we get that information.
Yeah, or it gives you the link to it even.
A bubble pops up or something like that.
Totally. Yep. I will ask.
Judy, how do you like this?
Oh, I think it's amazing.
I think that is exceeded my expectations of what you guys could do. So
Very cool.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
On the map as it stands, does this map right now show like the new acquisition on Serpentine Drive? And is that on there? Ah. Oh, there's the whale tail, the yellow. It's in yellow.
So
Stop, Piper.
there's like 5 different yellows.
Ah,
That's
Yeah.
a pro-
So yeah,
The
I
whale
think
tail up here,
that it would kind of correspond with this city-owned
the old
property.
property, yeah.
Yellow. So yes, it should be pretty current with parcels.
Okay, all right. I want to see that. Thank you.
And the whale tail is in your packet, Judy, under that serpentine.
Yep.
It's in the packet, a very good picture of what we just bought. Did you see that in there?
No,
Okay, it's in the packet under the serpentine portion.
okay.
By the way, Judy, thanks for asking page numbers. It is helpful.
You're welcome.
It is, because how many times have we said, so what is this?
Right.
25 of 30, Judy,
Yeah.
has the parcel number 15 is the whale tail.
In
It's the
red.
whole whale, actually,
In red.
in red. So that's the Serpentine property, which on that map is kind of that little yellow thing.
Yeah, it doesn't look the same, does it,
No,
No,
at all?
something's wrong.
Is Rainbow Falls on here? Is that the green?
Mm,
I don't know what that is.
That would be up Serpentine Drive.
Yeah, there it
there
is.
it is right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely, so the whale tail, that yellow thing on there is not the whale tail.
Uh-uh.
If you move, there's the whale tail right there. Whoever's got that cursor, that's the tail of the whale. And
Yeah.
then everything from the Rainbow Falls to that's the body of the whale right there.
Oh, I see.
And then where the cursor is right now, that's Higginbotham Flats.
Up top.
Yeah, Shannon, just to plant the seed in terms of, priorities next year. Now that we own that open space, now that we own the whale tail, we need to look at the Creek Walk Trail master plan.
Yep.
And this is something for Seth and Skylar, but we need to look at the Creek Walk Trail master plan, and we need to come up with a plan for that space. How much of that space is going to be taken up by the trail, which I assume is going to continue to be 10 foot wide, but where exactly is it going to lay? And then what are we going to do to preserve that land, access to that land, save the creek bank?
That's going to be huge for us because we are in between the Higginbotham Flats Park and the Creek Walk Trail. That is all us now. So yeah, that's a really good point, Nancy. We need to kind of keep that in our head. And I think the next meeting, we'll try and talk about that a little more in depth. So does anybody else have questions, or now is the time to tell us what you want on the land map?
Well, that needs to be added as open space.
Yeah, it does. So anybody else have things they want to do for this?
I like the orange trails, the orange dash trails, because they're signifying potential trails mostly.
Yep.
I think that's important. I would like to see maybe even more of them. Like I'm looking at the Midland Railroad Trail down there, thinking, well, it kind of keeps on going along there through the railroad, even though it might be on private property. I think it's good to know what the possibilities are for possible future acquisitions or easements.
Yep, I agree with that. And the cool part is this map can evolve as we evolve too, and as the city evolved. I'm pretty amazed that we can do this. And it seems like it happened pretty quick. We've been asking for something like this. Is this a new position, Seth, or do we not
No.
used to have this person?
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly, but she has been here less time than I have. So, and I've been here
Okay.
2 years. So,
It's a new position. I mean,
Great.
new within, I met her last summer, or not last summer. I mean, maybe 3 months ago, something like that.
yeah, her name is Emily Lozano. She's really good.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that's as cool as it gets. Trail closure, are we done? Everybody cool? Or questions or comments? Anybody else?
Hey, just a little note on those potential trails running across private property. Let's keep in mind that we got in trouble by showing those on our maps because people just assume that, well, if they're potential trails and we can hike on them, and a number of people got upset with us over that.
Good point.
That's a very good point. Maybe those, well, I mean, so is this all going to be public? Like the general public can click on this to find a map? What is the story here?
I think the end goal is, yeah, for this to be accessible on the city website for the public.
Okay, so we probably need to think about that. Like,
Yeah.
That maybe potential trails shouldn't show up on a public map. I don't know if that's possible, but.
yeah, I mean, because it wouldn't take anything at all for.
Really bad if people started trumping around.
Yeah, I think being like social trails as a layer possibly, or just not at all. Either way.
Or maybe a layer that's only accessible to us and staff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, all trails could easily pick this up and say, hey, look.
Absolutely. There's the worst case.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they make their money, is publishing trails. So,
Right.
yeah, so let's keep that in mind and maybe talk to the GIS, and maybe it's something that's only accessible to us and staff.
Sounds good.
So, anybody else? Robin, you have any?
Oh, I just think that the social trails to us is a good idea and not publicly printed. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Trail closure and signs update. Seth, this is all you.
Okay, so we're talking about having trail closure signs put up at, let me flip in my notes here. One at the cemetery to block or to discourage travel onto, man, I always forget his last name.
Beisel.
Yeah, that property. That has been installed along with a split rail fence to deter people from walking on that one. Seems to be respected so far. And then let's see. And then Skylar and I wanted to put up a couple in the Black Canyon area of the road where the two most common entrances were, and we have installed 2 signs there as well, reading the following verbiage that we agreed upon: no trespassing, not a public hiking trail. So there's 2.
Where are those appearing?
Those are at the 2 most common entrances, or like most visible entrances that I could tell from Black Canyon Road, closer to the intersection with Garden of the Gods Road, I believe.
Huh.
More on that side.
So this is just right off Black Canyon Road. We're posting a sign that says no trespassing.
Yeah, but it's farther into the property, so it's not really visible from the road. It's just where we posted them right at kind of close to where that fence is, where that big trail is.
Where the homeless folks are going in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also not just the homeless folks, but it's the access that a number of people use, which are in order to hike up there. So do we really want to discourage people from hiking up there?
Well, it's illegal access right now.
It's, oh, you mean on the west
West
side
oh,
property, on the west side property? Okay,
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't we
On the east side of the property.
trying to just kind of ease, I mean, wasn't this kind of a PR thing on our part, trying to ease with Cedar Heights?
yeah, I thought those signs would be up on
Our property.
our property, but next to where the Cedar Heights property was, or where you were crossing over into Cedar Heights property. So it would be up almost to after that roundabout on the old wagon trail. You would know when you came to the end of that, of the Manitou Springs property. I don't know if we want to put them down below to discourage any kind of access onto the open space property. That's an open, I'm asking that as a question, not as a rhetorical question.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I-
almost wonder if it should, I mean, I hate to say this, but the signs should be something more like no camping allowed. If that-
Yeah, it seems the West Side people don't, the West Side LLC doesn't care if we hike up there.
Yeah,
Well, so our situation is we're trying to keep people, and I think we all agreed this was a tricky situation. We're trying to keep people from going on someone else's public land from our property.
Right, right.
Which I think was a huge ask on Cedar Heights' part, but we've been willing to oblige just to show them that we're good,
Right.
we're team
Yeah,
players.
but what I had suggested to, and I'm not in contact with Cedar Heights anymore, but
Right.
what I had suggested was that, excuse me, that we go up there and go for a walk with Cedar Heights, with John Martin or whomever, and walk that boundary line up there and allow them to put up their no trespassing signs along there. So they can make that as uninviting as they want to. Will be shot on site, you know, things like that.
Right.
Trap doors.
Um,
Well, I mean, I think the bottom line, I mean, Seth, you it seems like you've done what we asked you to do, but our directions have been very vague. Is that correct?
That's what I'm understanding. Yeah, we just wanted to put them where it was most obvious that people are accessing somewhere that they shouldn't be accessing. So,
Well, we're not sure they shouldn't be accessing there. That's the question.
But well, technically, no one really has access to Black Canyon, even us.
right, it's not open for anybody right now.
According to West Side,
That's
They're
getting
not.
ready to be. No, West Side is private property, Tim.
no, I understand, but
But
apparently,
Colorado Springs will give us an easement when they own it.
no, I understand that.
I thought,
Okay, all right.
No, I mean,
So
has
we're-
there been?
So
has
we're
there been
posting no trespassing signs on somebody else's property.
which is, yeah,
we are?
Yes,
pretty much.
ours
I thought it was gonna be on our property.
property.
Our property is way up further.
yeah,
That's a good place for it. But I thought the whole idea was to appease the people in the development.
But Tim is right. It sounds like, and Seth, is this correct? We basically put signs on someone else's property?
Yes, and from my understanding, it was that as well, just for the appeasement.
Well, so what
Well, I would say they can put their own no trespassing signs on their property. Why would
Right.
we do it? It's done.
I agree
Yeah.
100%.
And I think the appeasement would be that we go walk our boundary with Cedar Heights, and have some signs that say end of Manitou open space or something like that.
Exactly, Tim. That's what
And
I
then-
thought we were,
and then they can put no
They
trespassing
want it.
signs on their own property,
wherever they want.
wherever they want, yeah.
So I think Seth, and let me see if we can kind of clarify this, Tim. I thought that what we wanted to do is put some sign that said public property ends here on our property, facing our property.
Right.
Public
right.
property ends beyond this sign, or
Right, exactly. And end of, Manitou open space. Private property beyond this point.
I think we can get in trouble putting no property signs on, or no trespassing signs on someone else's property.
We could, I doubt if they're gonna enforce anything, but we could get in trouble.
Right.
We don't have the right to do that. I don't.
Well, and I also don't want to give anybody the impression that we're going to enforce it.
True, and yeah. So it's a little more difficult ask, Seth, but we have a boundary on the north side of Manitou Springs open space up there that we want to indicate is the end of Manitou Springs open space. That's where we want the signs at.
Don't we want it on
I
the
think,
west? Don't we want it on the west side as well? Because you have those two lines, the west with along cliff dwellings, and then the north into, I think, is still Cedar Heights, right?
yeah, the squeaky wheel though is Cedar Heights, but you're right.
On cliff
You're right.
dwellings, they went up and strung. There's a sign every 10 feet on their property.
Oh, because when I was up there, I didn't see any, but maybe they did it after that.
I mean, maybe they've taken them down, but last time I
Well,
was up
maybe a
there,
little further over the ridge there.
there
Well-
were a ton of signs the last time I was up there.
Yeah, they are in there.
I think they went up after I was up there.
Could be.
So is that clear, Seth?
Kind of, I'm open to anything, but from my understanding, it's just not supposed to be accessible just right now. So I thought that was the kind of the
Yeah,
deal.
so the big thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, Cedar Heights was angry that people were accessing their property from our open space,
Right,
which is technically inaccessible to the public.
right.
So it's a weird situation. We're enforcing something that, yeah, and All Trails is the one who got us into this mess.
Yeah,
And we were trying to just put something up there that said, our boundary ends right here.
that's it.
And we didn't have to, because they could put up a no trespassing sign.
And they put some up.
Right.
They're the flimsy, stuff that you can buy down at Home Depot. And so their complaint is that people are tearing those down, but that's not our problem.
And that's that's life. I hate to say that, but I don't know, guys. I'm kind of the mind that we back ourselves out of this, but we got to decide that as a group.
Back ourselves out in what sense?
The signs, like, hey, if you guys want signs, you put them up, because we're getting confusing. We're putting Seth in a weird position.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a bad thing to put signs up there especially at the end of the old wagon trail, where it comes to an end up there, and saying This is the end of Manitou, Black Canyon open space, private property beyond this point.
What do you guys think about that?
I'm against it.
You are against it, Steve?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, again, it's Cedar Heights' problem. They want to put the no trespassing signs, they could put the no trespassing signs. It's not our problem.
Yeah, well, that's a problem, playing nice with them right now. And we're in a position where we're going to be eventually asking them to allow us to have a public access on the right of way that we currently have, that our attorney has said is not a public access, it's a private access. And they have a right to say that we are not allowed to have a public access.
Well, they're probably going to say no anyway. So I don't see
Not
any reason.
not necessarily. They have there's something in it for them, and I know we don't want to go down this rabbit hole in this meeting, but the something in it for them is when, and I think it's a when, not an if, Colorado Springs opens up the trail up there to Snyder Quarry. That trail is just going to run right down onto the along the dirt road all the way down to the blacktop, and they're going to end up with mountain bikers clogging that blacktop. Clogging might not be the right word, but they're going to be active along there. Whereas if we had a right of way up there, we could offset, we could have the mountain bikers going off onto our open space.
Well, I'd say cross that bridge when we get to it. If we're going to ask them, but as far as signs on their property, or even on our property saying,
No, we're not.
I don't see any reason for it.
So Steve, just to give you a little bit of background, we all kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, and I believe that we need to extend an olive branch of some sort with the least amount of effort on our part to show these people that we're, because I do believe we're going to have a big ask from them someday, maybe not in our lifetime, but to do this, connect all the trail around. And if this little gesture can stick in someone's head that we did a little bit of good for them, or we tried, or if this is what they want and this is a small ask, I believe it's a pretty small ask. I think putting a sign at the end. I mean, I know I said back out slowly of this, but if that's really all it takes to let them know that, hey, we're willing to play ball with you guys, and if that sticks in some decision maker's head someday when we go back to them and say, hey, we really want a public access here, if that little bit of goodwill on our part takes us across the edge someday with somebody who doesn't like to play ball, and it's not that much trouble to put one sign in that says into Manitou Springs property, I don't know. I think that might be.
And I think that would be worth it on the road, on the old wagon trail, at least. At the very least.
Steve, I see your point. It is not really our problem. But in the future,
I just don't think that there's going to be somebody who's going to look at us putting one sign or two signs up there and have that make any impact at all on any decision that they're going to make. The decision they're going to make, they're going to look on it. What is in it for us? That's all. And like you say, there are some things that there are reasons why they may decide, yeah, it's to our advantage to open that easement because we don't want all these people running up that dirt road with their mountain bikes. We want to get more people off of that road. That would be to their advantage. That would make them, open up that easement. That's the only thing. It's not going to be because we put a sign 2 years ago or something like that. By the time it gets around to asking them.
See that a little differently, but that's okay.
You seem very animately passionate about not putting the sign, Steve. Is there something?
I just don't like signs. I don't like signs.
Right. No, I agree with that. I'm just curious where you're coming from with that passion with it, which just a curiosity and not a judgment. So anybody else have an idea here? Judy?
Or an opinion, I would like to hear an opinion on that. Anybody else?
Well, I don't think two signs is gonna make or break us either way.
Right.
I do wonder, where the wagon road crosses onto public property. In an ideal world, someday you'd be able to continue your hike up the wagon road there.
Right.
It is a really cool hike. So for now, if we put open space property ends here, I'm just thinking rather than, there's always two approaches. There's one where, people, it's sort of grandfathered. People have used it for a trail for so long. But obviously that didn't work with the incline. Eventually it had to be, privatized.
Well, the trail keeps going, the wagon trail keeps going up to the quarry. side of
Right.
quarry, which is
Right.
where they want to have a parking lot eventually when they redo the Waldo Canyon Trail.
Yeah, but it isn't
We
on
as a
our property.
city,
Does Colorado
Really?
Springs own it all the way down to our
No,
property?
Cedar Heights,
no,
So
Cedar Heights owns a good part of it.
to
That's
me,
the
if we could play nice for now and not assume that hikers are welcome to keep going on up to the quarry from that particular spot, then when we really do want to make that trail go through all the way up to the quarry over Cedar Heights property, and we
and
have
cliff dwellings.
posted,
I just don't see the downside of putting a sign up there
Yeah.
that says
I don't even,
end of Black Canyon open space,
right.
private property.
We don't have that anyplace else. We don't delineate our borders anyplace else at all, except over on Beisel's kingdom.
Right, where we had a problem.
Where we've had a very big,
Yeah.
Exactly, where we have a guy with a shotgun, but,
Well,
literally.
right.
We've
So
got a guy with a virtual shotgun.
yeah, so I don't have
Well,
a
and we also
problem.
have a community that has a ton of money that we're not ever gonna win against.
Right. We're never gonna win a lawsuit.
I don't have a problem with putting a couple of signs up there if you think that'll make a big difference. I
Judy
think-
and Robin,
Should be on our property, not theirs.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm fine with the signs up there too, but I do have a question about, for right now, no one should be up there. Is that's what I'm hearing? Because even though it's open space, we shouldn't just let everyone bushwhack up there wherever they want. And
well, we don't
so-
technically have access to it.
Right, so do we need signs, move this, well, we can't move the signs because it says no trespassing, but they'll say, but this is open space, but make new signs that on our open space property inside that Western LLC, past that, but on the open space land that says, this is not open yet, no hiking at this time.
Yeah, I really wondered the same thing. I mean, I think we have a right to say that the area is closed for development or closed for, we know we can say closed for restoration, that kind of thing. And I wonder about, and this is just a strategy that maybe needs more discussion, but closing it that way, when we do have a trail and a trail alignment, we can make a big deal out of opening it. We can make a big deal out of giving people access on the trail, and then we can go back to the good old stay on the trail signs and those kinds of things. A lot of us who have lived here for a long time we're used to bushwhacking wherever we want, but those days are over. Yeah, we're loving these properties to death, and that's a good example of it. I wouldn't be opposed to closing the space, which would force us to move ahead more quickly on developing a trail over there that gave people access, and
Yeah.
cleaning it up. And
What do you mean by closing it?
I
Yeah,
mean,
the big catch here, Nancy, is the property that we would have to put the signs on is private property too.
No, I'm saying, you know, whether they trespass onto West Side LLC property, that's one thing. That's their problem. But as soon as they get to the open space,
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
this area is not open yet.
I see what you're
Please
saying. Yeah.
don't come in yet until, you know,
So now we've got an undelineated boundary that we're gonna be putting signs on saying, do not cross this line. I think we're running into a mess. There are people that hike up there. There's a, you know, like trail like there is on Eagle Mountain. Are we gonna close that one too, or what's the deal?
well, do we get a hold of Steve Shuck and say, hey, can we put no trespassing signs on your property? Because they would be trespassing. You know, normal people don't know that they're trespassing on his property as private property. So then they get over to the open space. They think it's all open space. But if there's a sign, this is private property, and that would kind of take care of it, that you're not supposed to be crossing private property. So I wonder if we just ask Steve Shuck if that's okay, then we could just leave the signs that are already there.
Right.
Just don't tell them.
I think we're getting all too wrapped up in all these details that we don't even need to be worried about.
I agree. I agree.
No, I think that's a good point, Steve. Can everybody agree, or can the majority of us agree that we need to have some signs for goodwill at the end of our boundary, deep into the open space?
On our
I
property.
certainly will.
On our
What's
that, Tim?
I certainly would agree with that.
Okay. Judy, how about your thoughts? You haven't.
I don't understand it, because you put a sign up and there's nothing to say this sign applies to this, because they could just will say, oh, well, what is it they're saying we can't walk in? Can we walk over there to the right 100 feet? Can we walk over to the left? I don't know how you do that. It seems.
Well, there's a trail up there.
Yeah,
and
but
where
the trail starts down on the LLC, the west side property, right?
Not really. You have to bushwhack to the trail that's on our open space.
Okay, okay.
So what
I
Tim
don't-
is saying,
It just like seems so complicated. And I don't think in the majority, I think in the majority of cases, if you did it to appease Cedar Heights, then you did it to appease Cedar Heights. And of course, West Side isn't going to come care that you said no trespassing on their property. And if that solves the problem of appeasing Cedar Heights, you're all set. And if it doesn't, then move the signs. But I think I kind of agree with Steve. It's getting so complicated. We've spent, I don't know how long on this. Let's just go with whatever the sentiment is. If the job is to just.
well, I was
appease
asking you what your
Cedar Heights.
sentiment is about the trail, the sign at the end of the trail. And if you get a chance to go up there, I think it'll be pretty clear that wagon trail starts kind of like if you just got plopped down onto our property, because none of us would trespass. You would go to the wagon trail and you would walk that, and then it goes on to private property.
Right. But I hear you saying, well, you can't go because that's trespassing.
It is trespassing.
Okay, so. It's.
We have a public easement people could use. You can also look at this on Google Maps. So
Goodness.
I'm fine with whatever people decide. It's just.
okay. So it seems that we have some consensus that we should put those trail Manitou public boundary ends here at the spot where our boundary ends.
Yeah. Fine.
And the trail is obvious. Seth, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm open to anything at this point.
Okay.
On our property.
On our property.
Yeah.
And would it be a good idea, and this is some gray area that I feel a little weird about, that we get those trails, those signs that are up there now taken away as soon as possible? And
It's fine with me.
But as a group, I don't think we're supposed to tell you what to do, but I think it's a bad idea. Those signs were put up by the city. on someone else's property, but do you guys see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, we've got a bigger question too of whether or not we're going to close off, and I don't even know how we do that. The Black Canyon open space. I mean, I don't know what that means unless we
well, and I think,
fence it in or something.
and Tim, I think that's a good point, but I think we should more focus on making it a high priority for 2023. We're not going to close anything between now and the end of the year. I mean, that's really the reality of that is it's not going to happen. But by the end of the year, we'll probably have full access from Colorado Springs, and we could put it high on our priority list
Right.
in 2023.
Yeah, I don't think we have to make a big deal out of this.
No,
I'm just trying to do something so that yeah, people aren't with impunity crossing on that trail from our property over to Cedar Heights.
yeah. Does that kind of make sense, Seth?
Yeah. Could we get the clear verbiage of what needs to be on there?
No,
Yeah, end of Manitou Springs open space, private property.
Public land ends here.
Public land ends here. Yeah, there you go.
and then are you gonna put no trespassing so they get?
We can let them.
That's not our problem.
That's not our problem.
But we can say our land ends here. It's just like the national forest. When you're out
Yeah.
there, it will say national forest boundary right here. And then usually there's a huge sign that says no hunting or fishing right behind that sign.
Yeah.
But the
that's-
national forest just says boundary ends here.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly legitimate for the National Forest to do. And I think it's legitimate for us to do.
And we can,
Especially on a real obvious trail that keeps going. is
and
a
guys
beautiful-
and Steve, no matter what, we can say we did our part, whether it works or whether it doesn't. We can all say, hey, we did what we were supposed to do. So without much effort, we're not, I mean, we definitely burned some brain calories, but we didn't really, nothing lost. So
Yeah, I think it's a cheap implementation that gives us some credibility of trying to play nice with Cedar Heights. So,
everybody cool with that? Okay, so
let's take a
next-
vote. Yeah.
What's that?
Should we take a vote or do we need to?
No.
Do we have a motion?
Seth, do you need a motion?
Not sure.
Probably
Sure.
not, because we already told them to put up the sign.
We've already discussed it. We're just kind of amending some,
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, but you know where we're talking about, right, Seth? Or
Yeah,
do you? You probably need
Give me,
somebody with a GPS to come up there. Exxon is real great for doing that, and you can just walk the trail till you till you end up crossing the line.
so I'm gonna share my screen again. This parcel right here is Black Canyon.
Yeah,
Right,
Is on this line where my cursor is. Is that
Yeah.
what you're referring to?
yes.
yes.
Got it.
Can you find the intersection of the trail in that line? Do you have GPS capabilities to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. That's all you need to do. Walk along the wagon trail and until it beeps and says you're crossing over. And then
Sounds
make
good.
sure- Yeah,
All right, so future agendas. We have two things that are pressing. Skylar really needs us to have a budget retreat priority meeting. We'll call it the same thing. Or we'll call it a budget retreat, budget/priority meeting. Nancy had a good point that August might be a rough time to get everybody together because it might be everybody's kind of last hurrah before summer ends. We can do this thing in September too. It's going to be a regular Monday night. it's probably not going to be till midnight or anything. We could do it in person or we could do it in Zoom. What do you guys think of like a September retreat priority meeting? Last time we did it, Denise Howell facilitated the meeting. I think she did a pretty good job. I was happy with what came out of that. How about the rest of you? What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think she did a good job.
And
I think it cleared things up. I think it was very concise and it didn't waste a lot of time.
I don't know if we can assume we can get her again.
Well,
but-
I was going to ask. That's what I was going to say is like, I can ask. Now, just put this out there. I've been to a couple of these budget retreats where Nancy ran it and did a really good job too. I'm not a retreat kind of guy. I'm not going to, I just don't know how to do that, to be honest. I think Denise would be our first choice if everybody's cool with that.
Mhm.
She's a very neutral party and she was this is what we're doing. So is everybody cool with trying to do that in September at the regular meeting in September?
Mhm.
And
Did
should
we-
it- should it be in person? I thought it
Yeah.
went,
Yeah. I think it should be in person.
I thought that went better.
Just because we can do a little more interaction. And I mean, I think the conversations it starts working really helps us as a group.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. We'll do that for September. And then August, we'll do our regular housekeeping things and whatnot.
I will have the goals from the post plan for each committee, and you can, just in looking at them right now, there might be some overlap, so we'll have
Yep.
to.
And as a group, let's all kind of think if there's it doesn't just have to be the post plan. If you think of other goals and expectations that you would like to see these subcommittees do, write them down and bring it to the meeting. We'll do a Zoom meeting in August too. But yeah, it doesn't just have to be the post plan. We want to do this as a big committee, we don't want to set our goals and expectations for
Well, I can tell you, the post plan is broad enough that just about anything you could think of will fit under there.
is under there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if there's something someone doesn't think about, we can put that on there.
Yep.
So,
I have a question for Seth.
Yep.
Seth, these are the goals and out of the back of the post plan. Do you know, have you guys been able to manipulate that? Is there some way I can get access to cut and paste and move those things around?
I am not sure, but that's a great question for Skylar when he gets back. I can definitely relay that to him.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll try it on my own by just going to the website and seeing if I can do it, but if we could get a copy, or if we could figure out a way, if you guys have downloaded it and found a way to manipulate it, it would make it a lot easier for me to put those in categories. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to retype everything, but
Okay, so like alterations of post plan.
yeah, just the goals and objective pages at the end of it. It's it's in a spreadsheet format, and if we could manipulate that, it would be really great.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
does anybody else have anything they'd like to see on a future agenda? Nope. All right. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
go
would
ahead, Nancy.
urge everybody to take a look at the Creek Walk Master Plan, which is on the city website,
That is a good
and start
plan.
thinking about the development of the West End.
And Higginbotham Flats is getting ready to go through a master plan process too. So all those, we're going to be right in between some very kind of important and very big happenings in the city. And I think we're going to probably want to link those two things. And our property is going to be the key to that. So that's a good point to look at the Creek Walk Master Plan. There's nothing to look at for Higginbotham Flats yet, but keep it in mind. And we'll probably start wanting to pay attention to Parab's minutes a little bit more when they talk about that.
Yep. And just one other thing I'd point out about Creek Walk. You realize that Creek Walk is being, a big section of Creek Walk is being finished now with the completion of the MAPS plan, the plan on the western part of the city. So that new sidewalk you see is 10 feet wide, and it's 10 feet wide because that's part of the Creek Walk Trail. I think there will eventually maybe even be a center stripe because it's going to be legal to ride your bike on that trail. It's a walking, biking, ADA access trail that's, you know, basically starts by Soda Springs and goes, well, hopefully eventually we'll go up to Rainbow Falls, but right now it goes to the roundabout. So you're looking at a reach, one reach of the Creek Walk Trail now on the west end.
A huge portion.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
questions, comments? Nope. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. Second. All those in favor? Hey, thanks a lot for coming, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.